hired a house sitter from an app, and she ended up stealing from me.
Oh, what? You can't trust someone on the internet? That's crazy.
Hired a sitter on Rover over a month ago for a trip this week from last Saturday through Friday to house sit at my house. We did a meet and greet. I liked her. She had 8 5-star reviews over the last year and a half, with the last several months of verified stays. Booked through Rover. We did exchange WhatsApp numbers because I'm out of the country on this trip and do not have an international calling plan. By the way, this comes from user Dragon Master Ash, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. She sent messages the first few days. Wednesday at 3 a.m., she sent a message that she had been sick with a stomach bug, but was feeling better. She asked a question about one dog's behavior sitting in the bathroom and barking, and I responded. She probably wants fresh water. She's asking to drink from the toilet. I didn't hear anything, so I sent several messages checking in on WhatsApp and Rover. No response. I checked my smart lock on my door, and there was very minimal locking and unlocking, and always from the inside. I checked my camera outside that door. My dogs happened to be outside, so I watched them. Then I hear a man I don't know, say, "Okay, one last shot." Then the man whistles for the dogs to come inside, and she wobbles into the doorway. They walk out, and she falls over, and he catches her. They leave together in, I assume, his vehicle. She was barefoot and obviously heavily intoxicated. That was 4 p.m. on Thursday. I sent my friend over around midnight to check on the dogs and let them out. She found my bottles of liqueur all empty, all over the dining table. They were all either brand new or over half full. A handful of seltzers empty and in the trash, and a container of kratom on the table and several more in the trash. A couple empty bottles of a THC drink with more in the fridge that are not mine. A vape pen on the table. Loose pills in the bottom of her purse. Methylcarbamol 500 milligrams. That matches the prescription my dog has, but she had more than what my dog was prescribed, so either none or only some were stolen from my dog. My boxes where I keep medications were taken down from the cabinet in the bathroom and set on the counter and back of the toilet. I won't know if any are missing until I get home, but I have the things worth stealing with me, and the toilet was clogged. The second toilet has a towel under it like it was leaking, which it has never done before. My dogs free feed. I keep food in their bowls at all times. Both bowls were empty. Their water, a 2-gallon bowl with a fountain, was empty. My friend put 2.5 cups of food in both bowls, and they immediately ate all of it. Then she put another 5 cups in both bowls, and they kept eating. They never do this, so they hadn't been fed in a long time. Thank you for reading this far. I want to know, what is every single step I should take next? I've already made a report to Rover. I can't call their number until I'm back in the country at my layover around 6:30 p.m. today. I sent them all the pictures from my friend and the video from my camera of her falling over. They're sending it to their trust and safety team and said I should get a response within 24 hours. They've offered no alternatives to pet care in the meantime. My friend spoke with the police, and they said her stuff is abandoned property, so have her car towed and do whatever with her things inside my house. If she comes back, I can keep her stuff until I'm home and make sure she only leaves with her things. I've deactivated her door code, so it won't work, and all doors are locked, but I'll see if she attempts to come back and use her code. Her car is still in my driveway. My friend peeked inside and saw synthetic urine inside. I have not had any communication since the message Wednesday. How much liability is on Rover? And there's some comments. Yeah, I feel like this OP doesn't have any questions other than who do I need to sue and how hard can I sue them? Bulky District 2757 says, this is insane. I'd imagine Rover will refund you and then ban the sitter. OP says, I do also feel like that much is guaranteed. I'm not sure about the several $100s in drink she has consumed. Is that a civil suit? Can I even get her info from Rover to be able to file that? And I have no idea the cost of the toilet repair. Scooty Doody says, hey, so she got really effed up and a man came and took her away, and she never returned for her car or any of her stuff. Am I the only one actually concerned for the sitter's well-being? What if she's been kidnapped? She had good reviews and 1.5 years of them to boot. This is really abnormal behavior from what I can see. OP says she definitely knew the man who showed up. He seemed concerned when he first got there, and he stayed for a while before they left together. He was helping her to the car. It seemed like he came to help. OP replies, I was also wondering how someone with this level of substance use could have passed the background check. I have her last name because she has business cards in her purse and a vague address from the Rover profile. Anna XD says none of the substances that were being used are illegal, so as long as the sitter hasn't committed a crime, adject to regular using, theft, DUI, etc., there's no reason why they would not pass a background check. Sounds like the sitter is smart enough to have a designated driver if they left their vehicle in OP's driveway. However, it seems like their sticky finger will eventually land them a theft charge. OP says, well, it's theft now. All the liquor bottles were mine and the seltzers, and there's an update. After going through the whole house, there were methylcarbamol pills scattered everywhere throughout her things, as well as a few Sudafed, amoxicillin, another vape, and many of those little boxes of kratom. Inside her box of cosmetics, inside her box of yarn and crochet supplies, inside multiple pockets of her purse. I threw all of it away. She has a prescription bottle for sertraline. It was on the floor in a bag, and thank God my dogs didn't get into it. My custom-built gaming table, the floor under it, and the chair that was on that end of the table are all incredibly sticky and nasty. Multiple towels were in the washing machine. The towel on the floor of the spare bath smells like crap, so did her clothes in the spare room. The main bath was clogged because the tank was empty, because the water was shut off. It appears to be flushing now. Hopefully that's functional. The toilet is stinky nasty. The spare bath is stinky nasty. The dogs were happy to see me. I brought them chicken nuggets. I turned my back, and Guinea ate half my burger bun too. That counter-surfing goon. Both are currently napping on either side of me. I'll investigate the yard in the morning, given that I found some empty cans and a cigarette butt on the front porch. Her car is still out front. It's parked entirely off the street with all four wheels in the grass between my yard and my neighbor's yard. I'm still going through all the camera footage. And there's more. The man was there longer, and she stumbled into the house at 9 a.m. Wednesday. I think they were gone all Tuesday night. I will update once I can finish reviewing all that. No new responses from Rover. Update 2. 5 days later, I finished reviewing all of the camera footage. It took most of the Saturday and Sunday after arriving home. The sitter arrived at my home at 10:30 a.m. Saturday. I hadn't requested her to start until the afternoon, but she said she happened to be off work, so would show up early. She started drinking the seltzers on the front porch at 11 a.m. that day. She notices the camera and tries to hide the cans in her dress as she drinks them outside Saturday and Sunday. She also smokes outside those days. I found an empty box of the devil's lettuce and saw her bring that into the house. Plus, I found a lighter. I assume that's what she was smoking. Her boyfriend starts showing up on Tuesday and shows up every day after that, usually twice a day. I've never met him and never agreed to allow him in my house. She appears wasted while leaving Tuesday at 6:30 p.m., and no one returns until she comes back Wednesday at 8:30 a.m., also stumbling. She sent me an update at 3:30 a.m. while not even at my house to say she had a stomach bug and ask about my one dog barking in the bathroom. I responded saying she was asking for water. That was the last communication I had from her until Friday morning when her boyfriend tried to get into the house with her code. I sent several messages and requests for updates via Rover and WhatsApp, but didn't hear back. First time my door opens on Thursday is at 3:45 p.m. when her boyfriend shows up. It's possible she let the dogs out in the backyard, but until then they had been going out the side door with the camera quite often, so I suspect they weren't let out at all that day. Watching the full video, her boyfriend has a moment of breaking down crying, facing the outdoor camera with his back to her after finding her, so I don't think he was encouraging her to drink. His full comment after listening very closely is take one last shot and then we'll go. And there's another quieter, we gotta get out of here. I think he was just trying to convince her to leave. I do think it's possible she was actually in the hospital. I never saw anyone else show up to the house, so given how much she drank, she absolutely should have been in the hospital. In general, the videos were a lot of just the dogs being outside, barking to come in, wandering around, and Ginny begging for someone to throw her frisbee. It was so hard to watch them be ignored like that. I feel guilty for not keeping a closer eye on my camera. I normally watch the door locking and unlocking and use that to check the camera, but she wasn't locking it, even overnight or when she left the house. I know I wouldn't have caught the early signs of drinking the seltzers unless I was watching every single video, but I'm feeling the parent guilt over everything my babies went through. I've written out a full timeline of events, saved all relevant videos, saved screenshots of all conversations on WhatsApp and Rover, printed all emails with Rover, included a copy of my dog's sitting instructions, and collected every photo from myself and my friends. I updated the itemized list to include the actual amount of time my friends spent there, screenshots of Uber costs, and things like that, plus court costs. I ordered all photos to be printed to bring to court. I'm not sure how to share the videos other than bring my tablet to court with me, but I took the most damning screenshot from every video and added that to the printed photos. I officially filed paperwork for a civil suit against her, and the sheriff has everything to serve her. After double-checking all the costs of everything, getting the total from the housekeeper, and adding the court-related costs, I'm suing for $1,124. If all goes well, court will be mid-May. I'm sorry, I hate to say this, OP. Maybe I'm just a cynic. You're not getting that money. You're not going to get that money from her until the government garnishes her bank account. I searched public records in my area for her, and she has no records for crimes or probation that I could find. I'm guessing the synthetic urine was to pass a substance screen for work. I was able to get a housekeeper to come Monday to help with the sticky mess and gross bathrooms. I've been doing laundry for days in between all of the documentation. Everything in my house feels gross and violated. The pups are acting relatively normal, maybe a little more tired than usual. The independent hound dog is definitely clingier than usual and actually listening when I tell her to come. The Carolina dog couldn't possibly get more clingy than she already was, and she's acting perfectly normal. The vet said after 6 days without it, the Prozac is basically out of Ginny's system, and it could take another 6 to 8 weeks to see full effects again. There's also a chance it will not work at all anymore after suddenly stopping it. So far, it does seem she's calmer, so I'm hoping she's feeling better to be back on it and home safe with Mama. Relevant comments. Super Crush says, I've been waiting for this update. I cannot imagine how someone could do this while responsible for someone else's babies / in another person's home. I wish you all the best with your case and hope to get more updates. Has the sitter said anything else to you? OP says, not sure if you read all the updates on the other post. So she apologized for making me uncomfortable and leaving my house a mess and said she hadn't drank in 9 years, then threatened me for keeping her things. I said that her things were in her car and it had been towed. And if she wanted to settle things out of court, here's the itemized list. I listed out all of the drink, cleaning fees, and extra sitters for 3 check-ins after she left. She said she'll have her lawyer call me, and this is a cease and desist. I haven't heard anything from her since then. So when discussing what costs to add to the civil suit, Mind Over Entropy says the time you spent cleaning, the vet costs, and the time there should also be included, and I hope they were. Prior Talk 7726 says, and you said you hired a house cleaner, include that too. OP replies, I included the house cleaner with a receipt signed by both of us. I haven't included my time spent cleaning. I can bring that up in court and see what they say. Shrinking Nadia said, and the time your friend took to go over and check things out and consider a lawyer. OP says, yes, I included Uber for friends and the time they spent there for the 3 check-ins until I could get home. And we have a third update. So I showed up at the most recent court date. I tried to have the sheriff serve her. Paperwork returned as multiple failed attempts. I sent certified mail to her home and returned undeliverable. I sent certified mail to her business and someone, not her, signed for it, and that was returned to the court as well. The judge said that I have to continue to attempt and they cannot hear the case until she is served. My only allowed options for serving her are via sheriff or certified mail. So I need help. How do I find her and get her served? The sheriff and post office left notes that they attempted to reach her, so she knows I'm after her. And by the way, if you're after more stories, you can find them in the episodes we have on Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Apple Podcasts, and wherever you listen to podcasts. All you need to do is search OK Storytime. I have the following information on her because of everything she left in my house, which has since been returned. Her full name, address at the time of events, her frequently used usernames from her Cash App credit card, her social security number, her card was in her things, current and former driver's license, her past workplaces, and her now expired car dealership seller license number. It's not searchable, unfortunately. I found her Facebook page that has minimal public info, Instagram that is barely used, and a Reddit account frequently used, but nothing on this subreddit. Based on what I have, it looks like she moved to another city 2.5 hours away, but in the same state. I'm not sure if it's allowed to post the state, but that's super relevant because legal issues vary so wildly from state to state. So I'll put it in a comment in case that needs to be deleted. Relevant comments, OP says the state is North Carolina. Why not hire someone to serve her? Hilarious. Individuals aren't allowed to serve in my state, unfortunately, or I would absolutely be down for such antics. And that is the end of that story.
Oh, wow.
Look.
Wow. It's over just like that.
So this is what you need to do is a good old-fashioned public shaming. People need to know that they can't trust this person to come into their homes. They can't trust this person in their place of business.
Yeah.
People need to know that they cannot trust this person around their medication or their pets.
Yeah, like, I mean, if this is bad press for the website, like, but that's not our fault. My neighbor left her kids on my porch for me to babysit without any notice. For context, I, 17 female, live with my dad and his mother. My grandma adores kids and they love her too. Whenever we go to family gatherings, they all swarm her. I am the opposite. I don't like being around kids and avoid them at all times if possible, as they worsen my anxiety. By the way, this comes from your mother's secret lover. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So it's been made clear to my family that I am not a babysitter unless it is a genuine emergency, and I am the last resort. Call me selfish for that if you want, but being around little kids causes anxiety attacks due to some past situations with my mother that I won't dive into. Despite that, my grandma told my neighbors, not sure if their ages, so I'll call them Stacy and John, that if there was ever an emergency or their preferred sitter canceled, she would watch their 2 daughters. I believe around 6 female and 9 female. This luckily doesn't happen very often, and I've never argued about this because it's my grandma's house and I can simply stay in my room until the kids leave. This past Friday, John had a stroke and Stacy dropped everything to rush him to the hospital. But at the time, I didn't know this, seeing as Stacy dropped the 2 girls off on our porch and didn't wait for anyone to answer the door before rushing off. The only issue is that my dad was in another state to celebrate the 4th, and my grandma was multiple cities over and wouldn't be home until later that night. I couldn't call her as her location tracking app said that her phone passed away, and when I tried calling the family she was with, they didn't pick up. I don't know what to do with little kids, seeing as I don't babysit and haven't been around a child willingly in years, so I did my best with what I had. I made them chicken nuggets and fries, turned on Disney, and sat on the couch watching them, waiting until someone else got home. The girls didn't complain, but I was very uncomfortable the entire time. Seeing my neighbor's car wasn't in the driveway, and knowing about their prior agreement with my grandma, I would have felt guilty turning them away, so I decided to just suck it up despite the anxiety. When my grandma came home, she told me that she had charged her phone in the car on the way and Stacy had called her, letting her know about John's stroke and why she gave my grandma no notice about leaving them. To which my grandma replied she hadn't been home all night. I explained everything to my grandma, and she apologized for putting me in that position, but I told her it wasn't her fault and just asked that she tell the neighbors to make sure she or my dad is home in the future to avoid this happening again. I also said this situation was an exception, as it was an emergency, but I did feel a certain kind of way about her leaving her kids on the porch unattended. All the lights were off and my parents' cars were gone. No indication that anyone was home. She said she understood, and I thought the situation was done and over with. That was until my neighbor came knocking on my front door while my parents were both working. She did not yell at me, but very passive-aggressively stated that she was sorry her kids made me so uncomfortable and said that I shouldn't have fed the kids chicken without consulting her first as they were trying to go vegetarian. 9 female had watched some kind of documentary and didn't want anyone in the house eating meat. Probably just was like, I don't want to hurt animals. And then was like, we all have to stop. I apologized, but stated how exactly she would expect me to know that, seeing as I don't regularly interact with her or John, and that the kids didn't mention it to me. 9 female didn't eat the chicken, but didn't say anything to indicate that she was uncomfortable with her or her sister eating it. I will admit my tone was rude. I tend to get snappy and irritated during confrontations. She said she was surprised my grandma didn't tell me and said that next time she'd make sure to give me a heads up when her husband had a stroke and I'd have to suffer with her children. I understand how hard it is when a loved one has a stroke. My dad had one last year, so I don't expect her to be completely rational right now. I understand the frustration. When my grandma got home from work, she showed me messages from Stacy saying that she and John had been appalled by my behavior and that I shouldn't be left around kids, just like I've been preaching for years, and suggested to my grandma I get some kind of lessons, not sure if she meant a parenting class or something else, on how to responsibly watch children should this happen again. My grandma politely declined the lessons, but said that she would talk to me. After showing me the text, she said she understood my anxiety, but that I shouldn't have been so rude, and it wasn't a big deal to watch the girls for a few hours. My dad sided with my neighbors and said that I should probably learn a bit because I can't avoid being around kids forever. I didn't think I did anything wrong, and had Stacy stayed around to see if my grandma was there, this could have been avoided. And furthermore, I didn't complain much about watching them, just that it made me anxious like all kids do. I do feel guilty for snapping on a woman whose husband just had a stroke, but I feel like she shouldn't be allowed to accuse me of being irresponsible because she didn't like how I handled her kids with zero notice and little experience with children. Am I wrong for not responsibly watching kids I never agreed to watch? And there are some comments.
No, you're like, you did like the best thing you could do is come on in, let's watch some TV.
Right.
I have at least the fact that you offered them food
Right.
and you're
Yeah.
like, this is that's all you need to do. Give them food, water, let them do their
Right.
thing. And like, okay, you guys good? Good. Great.
Comment number 1 says, not the a-hole, but she is. Tell her the next time you'll call the police for child abandonment since she dropped them off on a porch. Comment number 2 says, not the a-hole. I understand she had a legit and scary emergency, but she left her kids on a porch with no evidence of anyone being home. And you put your own comfort aside and made sure her children were safe and fed, I might add, which is the only thing that matters in situations like that. She should have apologized and thanked you and paid you like one does with teenage babysitters. OP says, I kind of understand why she didn't pay me since she was going off the assumption that my grandma would be there, who watches them for free. I'm really mostly upset about the vegetarian thing because I'm not sure how I was meant to ask if they could eat meat when she left them without a word or any instructions. Someone responds, once she found out that you got stuck babysitting, she should have paid you or got you a gift card or done something nice for you. You are not your grandmother. Regardless of your attitude, you kept her kids safe. It goes back to Maslow's hierarchy of needs when there's an emergency. Food, shelter, safety, all of which you provided. I don't eat any animal products and I'm on your side here with the chicken nuggets. You had no way of knowing. Nuggets and french fries are standard kid fare and you're a teenager and that would be something that you would cook and those children are old enough to tell you if they don't eat something. You are still not the a-hole, but she is. Comment number 3 says, you did nothing wrong. I would have gone off on old Stacy. As far as I read, you answered more politely than many people would have. If you are female, please don't feel that you should have some natural tendency to be able to care for children. You get anxious around them, fine. Don't be near them. I get anxious with heights, nothing wrong with me. There is an update. It is an update.
I mean, those comments were really pretty much what we said.
We all agree here. So, on to the update. I ended up waiting for my parents to calm down from work and decided to bring it up again. And they were a lot more receptive. I explained my side again and said that I would no longer babysit for Stacy under any circumstances. And next time this happened, I would be calling CPS for abandonment. My dad apologized for insisting that I take a parenting course, but reiterated the situation was an emergency and I should give Stacy more grace. And my grandma said that she would talk to Stacy. And by the way, I hope that you always talk to us on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, whatever your favorite podcast app is. Just search OK Storytime and there's going to be full episodes of stories just like this one. You can comment on them. You could do whatever. We might not be able to talk back like immediately, but like you can pretend. You can give your little spiel when we're giving ours. Pause it, give your spiel, play. I mean, that's fun. I do that sometimes. Unsurprisingly, Stacy didn't react well. She again said that she was disgusted by how I treat people in a time of need and criticized my grandma for raising me to be so selfish. My grandma said that if she had an issue with how she raised her grandchildren, Stacy shouldn't want my grandma around her own kids either, and that she was taking back the babysitting offer. Stacy didn't send a text reply and came back to our porch and began banging on the door, demanding to talk to me. My dad opened the door. We have a glass screen which was closed and locked, and said that if she didn't leave, he would call the police and report her for pesterment and child neglect. That was enough to get her to leave. After spitting on the glass screen, gross, but okay. A few hours have passed since then, and nobody has heard from or seen Stacy. So I think this was finally done and over with. And there are some quick comments.
She's one of those. She's a spitter.
A spitter, yeah.
Dang.
Actually, the comment.
I'd probably
yeah,
get her
no
some
one-
rotisserie chicken. And put it
Yeah,
on her
drop
front
off
door.
some chicken on her door. Well, but
I mean, it's not the
Stacey
kids'
seemed more
fault. Yeah, we
bothered.
can take it on the kids, but
Yeah.
that's
But, oh my
crazy.
Gosh.
That's crazy.